Remember when Grease 2 was supposed to be a sure thing? Same studio, same producer, same Rydell High, even the same Pink Ladies pledge. To act cool, to look cool, to be cool. Till death do us part. Think Pink. Instead, the movie crashed so hard it tanked an entire planned franchise, vaporized a leading man's career, and became one of the most quoted, most mocked, most secretly beloved sequels of the 1980s. Today we're getting into the weird stuff. The Tom Cruise audition the studio overruled, the screenwriter who never lived to see the sequel, the bowling alley that got turned into a medical building, and even the mystery streaker who turned out to be a future blockbuster director. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for number 1, because none of the bizarre madness we just mentioned takes the top spot. Before we get started, hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help the channel show this to more retro movie fans like you. And let us know in the comments, Team Stephanie, Team Michael, or low-key just here for a cool writer. Okay, everyone loves going back to high school, don't they? Number 15, Tom Cruise got told he was too short for movies, the same year he filmed Taps. Producer Alan Carr auditioned an unknown 19-year-old in his living room. The kid sang, the kid danced, Carr was sold. Then they took him to the studio. They said, oh, he's too short to be in the movies or to be a movie star. Carr recalled. Tom Cruise. So that's one of life's little adventures. Director Patricia Birch wanted someone older and taller. Cruise was neither. He was already filming Taps at the time, the military drama with George C. Scott and Timothy Hutton. His part was small until director Harold Becker watched him on set and expanded it. The kid had something. Taps hit theaters December 1981. Risky Business followed in 83, Top Gun in 86, and by 96 he was launching Mission Impossible, still cranking out installments 30 years later. He's 63, still doing his own stunts, and snapped his ankle leaping between London rooftops for Fallout in 2017. Finished the shot anyway, all because someone told him he was too short. Cruise wasn't the only casualty of that audition room. Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin, and Happy Gilmore in the recent sequel auditioned for Johnny Nogarelli 5 separate times. That was one of the happiest times I ever had on set, McDonald told the AV Club. This was my first biggie, and all the singing and dancing, and boy, just the 5 auditions. 5 auditions for the same part, and he didn't get it. He wanted Johnny badly. In his words, you can't wash the Irish off my face. Patricia Birch called him personally after he was sent home, invited him back the next morning, and he walked out with Goose McKenzie, Johnny's sidekick. Goose became one of the most quotable T-Birds in the film. Adrian Zmed got Johnny. He's still funny about it. Number 14, Annette Funicello was supposed to be in Grease 2, but was busy selling peanut butter. The Miss Mason role, the va-va-voom teacher with a glamorous Hollywood past, went to Connie Stevens. That's not who they wanted first. They wanted Annette Funicello, the original Mouseketeer, Frankie Avalon's Beach Party co-star, America's sweetheart, and by then, America's most successful peanut butter spokesperson. Her Skippy commercial started in 1979 and ran straight through the decade. For good nutrition, it's hard to beat Skippy. Skippy paid better than Grease 2. She couldn't make the dates work. Connie Stevens stepped in. She'd been a teen idol in the early 60s, Cricket Blake on Hawaiian Eye, 16 Reasons on the radio, Sandra Naples opposite Jerry Lewis in Rockabye Baby. Casting her as the glamorous past teacher worked because she actually had a glamorous past. Here's the kicker. Tab Hunter, the other new teacher in Grease 2, was also a 1950s heartthrob. 2 real ex-teen idols playing 2 ex-teen idol teachers at Rydell High. Casting director earned their paycheck on that one. Funicello and Avalon eventually reunited in 1987 for Back to the Beach, parodying their old beach films. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis the same year, kept it private until 1992, and passed away in 2013. She turned down Grease 2 for peanut butter. And knowing how Grease 2 was received, that may have been the smartest career move of 1981. Number 13. Judy Garland's daughter lost her hair for Grease 2. Lorna Luft, daughter of Judy Garland, half-sister of Liza Minnelli, played the Marilyn Monroe wannabe Pink Lady Paulette. The studio wanted her hair Monroe platinum, so they bleached it. They put a bleach on my head that I would rather have had hot coals under my soles of my feet, Luft told Today. She kept telling them it was burning. They told her no, 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 and kept going. They washed her hair, it came out that platinum white. By the next day it had all broken off to about an inch. All over her head, to about an inch. The studio's response? Oh, let's just put a wig on her, which she filmed the entire movie wearing. The platinum hair you see on screen? Wig. I thought to myself, Luft said, could you not have done that at the beginning? And then it got better. Paramount wouldn't let the Pink Ladies keep their leather jackets after filming. Years later, the studio auctioned them off. Luft's ended up with a fan named Lori Boyles who promised that if she ever parted with it, Luft would be the one to get it. In December 2019, Luft was on tour with Irving Berlin's White Christmas in Durham, North Carolina. Lori showed up at the theater with the jacket, said it was time to send it home. 37 years later, Lorna Luft got her Pink Lady jacket back. Number 12. The bowling alley got turned into a medical building. Scored tonight is the bowling alley song. Adrian Zmed leads it. The T-Birds back him up. The Pink Ladies fire back, and the whole thing turns into a choreographed face-off. Bowling balls used as props. T-Birds sliding down the lanes. Paulette draped over Johnny while singing about wiping the floor. They shot it at the actual Hawthorne Bowl on 141st Street and Hawthorne Boulevard in Hawthorne, California. 14 lanes, a cocktail lounge, a coffee cup, pool tables in the back. The bowling alley is gone. The building is now home to the Hawthorne School District. A teen musical bowling fantasy palace turned into a district administration office. Fun. The exteriors weren't even Hawthorne Bowl. The Bowl-Arena exteriors were filmed at the Norwalk Ice Arena, which has since been demolished. Even the geography of Grease 2 is dead. Excelsior High School in Norwalk, the actual Rydell High, had its last graduating class in 1981, the same year Grease 2 started filming. The school went out, the movie moved in. The building is now the Norwalk La Miranda Adult School. Square Pegs and High School USA both filmed there too. Excelsior had basically become a TV high school after it stopped being a real one. Every location in Grease 2 is either gone, repurposed, or doing something completely unrelated. The legacy is a ghost town with a parking lot. Number 11. Tennessee Williams heckled Maxwell Caulfield into his Grease 2 role. Caulfield wasn't a movie actor when Grease 2 found him. He was an unknown English stage actor in New York doing the off-Broadway revival of Joe Orton's entertaining Mr. Sloan at the Cherry Lane Theater. He played the title role, a homicidal bisexual drifter who seduces everyone in the house. The play became a downtown cause célèbre. Diane Keaton and Mikhail Baryshnikov showed up. So did Tennessee Williams. One night during the run, somebody at the back of the theater started howling with laughter. Disruptive. Mid-scene. Caulfield came off stage furious. "You've got to throw that drunk bum out of the theater," he told the stage manager. "I can't concentrate." The stage manager said, "I can't. It's Tennessee Williams. Do you want to go tell him yourself?" Alan Carr and Robert Stigwood came to that same production. They'd already been considering Rick Springfield, Leif Garrett, and Sean Cassidy for the Grease 2 lead. They saw Caulfield and Sloan, and somehow he got the role. Tennessee Williams laughed Maxwell Caulfield into Hollywood. Number 10. The cool rider's bike isn't what everyone thinks. For a long time, the only way most people knew what Michael's motorcycle was supposed to be was the Kidco toy line that came out with the movie. Kidco got it wrong. The actual bike on screen is a Honda CL77305 Scrambler. Southern California motorcycle dismantlers built it from the ground up for the film. The Honda was already a 20-year-old model by 1982, so they had to special order parts straight from Honda's factory to finish the build. The original bikes are still on their showroom floor in Fontana, where you can go look at them. But the Kidco Tough Wheels die-cast set, 3 bikes packaged together in 1982, labeled Michael's bike as a Norton Commando 750. The Psycho Lord's bike was a Suzuki GT 750. The third one was a police Harley. Neither toy matched what was on the screen. And worse, Grease 2 is set in 1961. The Norton Commando didn't exist until 1967. The Suzuki GT 750 wasn't built until 1971. 2 of the 3 toys are anachronisms for a movie that's already an anachronism. If you grew up with the Kidco toys, you grew up wrong. Number 9. The stunt guy overshot the jump so bad everyone thought he was dead. Gary Davis was Maxwell Caulfield's stunt double. He'd subbed for Evel Knievel and Viva Knievel. And 3 years before that, he'd broken Knievel's car-jumping world record with a leap over 21 cars. He knew how to make a motorcycle do unreasonable things. The big finale jump, Michael as the cool rider crashing the graduation luau, was shot on the football field at Excelsior High School in Norwalk. The plan was to clear the pool, clear Pfeiffer and Adrian Zmed in a canoe sitting in the middle of it, and clear the whole set. 8 cameras rolling. On the first take, Davis cleared all of it, then some. "He just flew above all of us," Caulfield told EW. "We literally lost sight of him in the night sky. He literally went to the far goalposts." None of the 8 cameras got the shot. Davis went so far into the black sky that every single camera lost him. "He left us all in total silence and we thought he was a goner," Caulfield said. "We thought he'd just gone kersplat somewhere." And then it was right out of Grease 2 that there was this roaring of the engine and Gary came tearing back around. They reset. Davis hit his mark. The cameras caught it. He still has a poster Patricia Birch signed for him hanging in his motorcycle museum, to the original cool rider. One more Davis story. Pfeiffer did her own wheelie in Griffith Park. No stunt double. According to Davis on a 2013 blog comment, "She sat behind me, then I lifted her around to where she straddled me. And then we wheelied away. She was wonderful the whole time. Number 8. Michelle Pfeiffer hid in the back of the audition room. Pfeiffer wasn't a dancer, wasn't a singer, showed up to the Grease 2 casting call in a short purple skirt and go-go boots because her agent said go. It was a total fluke that I got that part, she later told James Corden. I wasn't a dancer, I wasn't a singer, I was in this little short purple skirt with go-go boots. The room was a chorus line, actual professional dancers cycling through in rows. Per the book Grease Music on Film series, there were around 1,500 people at the dance call. Pfeiffer almost left halfway through, and when she finally had to sing, she chose Buddy Holly's That'll Be the Day. She was 23. She'd done a handful of TV episodes and a Hollywood Nights credit. That's it. She kept hiding in the back of every line. Finally, it was only me, she told Corden. She got the part. She also got the lifelong burden of every fan asking her about Grease 2, instead of, Dangerous Liaisons. Pfeiffer's been gracious about it for 40 years. Caulfield said years later, Michelle is a bit of a sphinx. She always retained a certain mystery. If you're still here, you're doing better than half the people who saw it in theaters. And for that, you're our people. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. We're heading into more cult classic chaos very soon. And drop a comment with your favorite Grease 2 song. We will absolutely fight about it. All right, back to Rydell. Number 7. The Grease 2 streaker is a working Hollywood director. Somewhere in the gym track sequence, one of the extras jumping hurdles in the background suffers a wardrobe malfunction. We'll be polite about what's visible. The internet has done the math for us. Every few years, the clip resurfaces and the same conversation starts up online again. Caulfield talked about it for the movie's 40th anniversary. I cannot believe it made the final cut, he told EW. There's a side of me that thinks it's been CGI'd. According to Caulfield, this wasn't a one-time accident. The streaker also showed up during the end credits shoot, when the cast was throwing mortar boards in the air. He came tearing across the campus in a black cape and helmet and nothing else. He flashed us all. He broke up the entire set when he did it. Caulfield wouldn't name him. He'd only say the streaker was actually quite a celebrated member of the Directors Guild. Fans have long pegged the culprit as Andy Tennant, credited in Grease 2 as Boy Greaser. Also a dancer in the original Grease, who went on to direct Hitch, Sweet Home Alabama, Ever After, Anna and the King, and Fools Rush In. So, somewhere out there, the man who made Will Smith's biggest romantic comedy may also be the man whose unmentionables made it into Grease 2. Hollywood is a small town. Number 6. The Grease screenwriter never lived to see the sequel. Bronte Woodard adapted the stage musical into the 1978 movie. He took a raunchy off-Broadway show about Chicago greasers and turned it into the screenplay that became one of the highest-grossing musicals in history. He was a close friend of producer Alan Carr. On August 6, 1980, Woodard died of hepatitis-related liver failure at Cedars-Sinai. He was 39. Carr's deal with Paramount required a sequel anyway. He hired a Canadian comedy writer named Ken Finkelman to start from scratch. Finkelman delivered the Grease 2 script and then, fresh off it, Paramount turned around and asked him to write and direct Airplane 2. The sequel, after the ZAZ team, Zucker, Abrams, Zucker initially agreed and then backed out to go make Police Squad instead. Finkelman said yes. Both films came out in 1982. Both were sequels nobody really asked for, and both underperformed. Grease 2 was the bigger casualty, $15 million box office on an $11 million budget, against the original's $132 million. Randall Kleiser, who directed the first Grease, wasn't available. He was off making The Blue Lagoon. Patricia Birch, the choreographer of both the stage musical and the 1978 movie, got handed the director's chair. She'd never directed a feature in her life. Number 5. The critics didn't just pan it, they made a sport of it. Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars and wrote that the movie recycles Grease without the stars, without the energy, without the freshness, and without the grease. Without the grease. Janet Maslin in the New York Times called it dizzy and slight, with an even more negligible plot than its predecessor had. This time the story can't even masquerade as an excuse for stringing the songs together. Variety, trying to be charitable, settled on this gem about Pfeiffer. All anyone could ask for in the looks department, and she fills Olivia Newton-John's shoes and tight pants very well, thank you. That's the kind of thing you write when you've got nothing else nice to say. On Rotten Tomatoes today, 39% tomato meter. The audience score is a more forgiving 53%, with over 250,000 people weighing in. The Stinkers Bad Movie Awards nominated it for Worst Picture of 1982, alongside Inchon, Annie, Death Wish 2, and The Pirate Movie. Inchon won, which honestly seems fair. Years later, the Stinkers 100 Years 100 Stinkers list ranked Grease 2 at number 13 on the worst films of the 20th century. Pretty gracious when you think about it. Number 4. Grease was supposed to be a 4-film cinematic universe. Alan Carr's deal with Paramount was for a 4-film franchise plus a TV series. Grease 2 was movie 2. Movies 3 and 4 were supposed to jump into the mid-60s and then the late 60s counterculture era. Same Rydell High, new generation, new soundtrack. Grease 2 grossed $15.2 million domestically against an $11.2 million budget. The original had pulled in roughly $160 million on its first release in 1978. Grease 2 didn't crack 10% of that. The franchise plans got shelved overnight. But the dream wouldn't die. In 1999, Paramount and a production company called Total Film Group started developing a real Grease 3. The plan was ambitious. Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears as Danny and Sandy's kids. The rest of NSYNC as supporting T-Birds. And Christina Aguilera in the running for Rizzo's daughter. She declined. Travolta and Newton-John were in talks for cameos. Lance Bass announced it publicly in October 2000. The project collapsed in 2001. The producers couldn't get the rights from Paramount to use the Grease name and characters. A SAG strike stalled things further, and Travolta eventually confirmed it was dead. Internet legend says that shelved Grease 3 script became High School Musical. Not true. Peter Barsaccini wrote the first HSM draft for Disney in 2004, inspired by an actual conversation he had as a teenager with his school basketball teammate. Future Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famer Lynn Swann, who confessed he secretly wanted to be a ballet dancer. Disney swapped ballet for musical theater because they thought ballet might be a tougher sell to young boys. The character Gabriella was named after Barsaccini's preteen daughter. So no, HSM isn't Grease 3 in disguise. But there really was a Britney and Justin as Danny and Sandy's kids movie that almost happened. Number 3. Adrian Zmed was headed for Notre Dame before his knee blew out. Before Grease 2, before T.J. Hooker opposite William Shatner, before Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. Adrian Zmed was being scouted by Notre Dame for a football scholarship. I truly was being scouted by Notre Dame to have a scholarship, Zmed told Las Vegas Magazine. I was planning on playing football. Then in 1968 at Lane Tech High in Chicago, he broke his leg on the field. The break was bad enough that it punctured a major artery. End of football career. His coach also taught gymnastics. He suggested dance classes to rehab the injury. One thing led to another. Zmed ended up at the Goodman School of Drama, joined the National Touring Company of Grease as Johnny, and got the call to play Johnny Nogarelli in Grease 2. To this day, his right leg is 1.5 inches shorter than his left. That's the leg he was dancing on through every Grease 2 number. Every Score Tonight slide across the bowling alley. Every Prowlin' strut. The man was choreographed on 1.5 legs. Notre Dame's loss became Patricia Birch's gain. The kid who almost suited up in South Bend ended up in leather, leading a T-Birds dance number across a bowling alley in front of Michelle Pfeiffer. He went pro anyway, just not in football. Number 2. Grease 2 pulled a gender flip nobody asked for. Grease was about a good girl who changes for the bad boy. Grease 2 flipped it. The good boy changes for the bad girl. Michael, the buttoned-up British exchange student, has to learn to ride a motorcycle, get a leather jacket, and become a brooding mystery biker to win Stephanie's heart. Stephanie, meanwhile, isn't compromising for anybody. She breaks up with the leader of the T-Birds in the first 10 minutes and spends the rest of the film holding out for someone worth her time. In 1982, that wasn't supposed to happen. The girl was supposed to do the bending. And the studio's original wish list for Stephanie makes the gender flip even weirder in hindsight. Lisa Hartman was on the audition shortlist. So was Christy McNichol, by then a Golden Globe nominee with Little Darlings and Only When I Laugh under her belt. She ended up in the pirate movie that summer instead, sharing a Stinkers nomination with Grease 2. Andrea McArdle, the original Broadway Annie, got a look. Debbie Harry of Blondie was offered the part and turned it down, saying she was too old to play a high schooler. Kim Carnes also got an offer and passed. And then there's Pat Benatar, the hit me with your best shot Pat Benatar. Sorry, I won't sing again. They wanted her in leather riding a Honda through Griffith Park singing about cool writers. Imagine that movie for a second, then imagine the soundtrack album, then weep for the timeline we didn't get. Instead, they went with the quiet blonde hiding in the back of the dance call and accidentally launched one of the biggest stars of the decade. Patricia Birch said Pfeiffer had a quirky quality you don't expect. Birch had no idea how right she was. Number 1. Maxwell Caulfield went down with the ship. Pfeiffer flew. Both leads knew it was coming. They talked about it on set. Speaking to Fox News for the movie's 40-plus anniversary, Caulfield remembered conversations with Pfeiffer about imminent stardom, the very real fear of suddenly becoming world famous. They weren't being humble. The trades had already crowned them. Caulfield was being floated as the next Richard Gere. Pfeiffer was 23 and had a Hollywood Nights credit and a handful of TV guest spots. Then the movie opened 5th, behind E.T., Star Trek II, Rocky III, and Poltergeist all in the same week. Yeah, tough acts to follow. When the film didn't take off, I went down with the ship, Caulfield told Fox. But she rose like a fabulous phoenix. Within a year, Pfeiffer auditioned for Scarface. Al Pacino didn't want her. He later said the bad re-auditions had him convinced she wasn't right. Brian De Palma was actually in her corner. So was producer Martin Bregman, who fought hardest to get her cast. The role was originally meant for Glenn Close. Pfeiffer got it anyway, played Elvira Hancock and never looked back. Witches of Eastwick, Married to the Mob, Dangerous Liaisons, The Fabulous Baker Boys. My personal favorite, Batman Returns. Meow. 3 Oscar nominations. Caulfield got the Colbys. 49 episodes opposite Charlton Heston. He said it took him 10 years to get over Grease 2. The ship Caulfield went down with, turns out it floats. In 2014, a fan-driven tribute concert called Cool Rider opened at London's Lyric Theatre. 2 sold-out performances in a single night, and it was so popular it expanded to a week at the Duchess Theatre. The show came back 10 years later on April 14, 2024, for a 10th anniversary concert at the London Palladium. This time, Caulfield himself was on stage, playing Mr. Stewart, alongside Drag Race UK star Kitty Scott-Claus, and the original 2014 Stephanie and Michael. Critics buried Grease 2. Audiences forgot it. Cable TV in the 80s and 90s brought it back. And 40+ years later, we're still talking about it. Cool Rider indeed. And there you have it, 15 weird facts about Grease 2, the sequel that bombed, the careers that diverged, and the cult that refused to die. Pick a side, Cool Rider, reproduction, score tonight, or who's that guy? Leave it in the comments below. There are no wrong answers. But if you don't pick Cool Rider, you're definitely wrong. If you enjoyed this, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. We're heading into more deep cuts soon. Until then, this is Remember When.